sold-out stadium tours to the price of a concert ticket, live music has become one of the world's most profitable entertainment industries. But who really holds power in this market? What happens when that power becomes concentrated? Hello and welcome to Undercurrent Stories podcast, and I'm your host, Bob Wells. Back in May, the UK's House of Commons Business and Trade Committee recommended that the Competition and Markets Authority launch a full market investigation into the UK live music sector. The committee's concerns centre on ticket pricing, competition, and the growing influence of major industry players. At the heart of the debate is Live Nation Entertainment, owner of Ticketmaster and the world's largest live entertainment company. Through its role in promotion, ticketing, and venues, critics argue the company wields an unprecedented degree of influence over the live music ecosystem. Live Nation rejects claims that it operates as a monopoly, maintaining that the industry remains competitive. These questions are not unique to Britain. In the United States, Live Nation is facing an antitrust lawsuit brought by the Department of Justice and a coalition of states alleging that the company has unlawfully maintained monopoly power in live entertainment markets, allegations the company strongly denies. As regulators on both sides of the Atlantic take a closer look at the industry, what might greater scrutiny mean for artists, venues, promoters and fans? One man with first-hand experience of these issues is our guest from the United States, Tommy Dorfman, Chief Executive of Juice Entertainment. Mr. Dorfman is involved in litigation in which he alleges that predatory practices by Live Nation harmed his business and limited competition in the marketplace. Those allegations are contested. He joins us to discuss his experiences and what they may reveal about the changing economics of live entertainment. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello and welcome to the show, Tommy.
Thanks a lot for having me on, Bob.
It's great to have you on. I've done a bit of research into the main focus of what we're going to be talking about today, but also quite a lot about yourself. I mean, you've had a real interest in the music scene over the years, haven't you? Could you just tell us a bit about your life growing up and what got you into music, Tommy?
Yeah, when I was young, my dad was like my mentor. He used to take me and my sister Colleen to concerts all the time. Back then, concerts were affordable because we were a working class family. But I went to Prince, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Bruce Springsteen. You pretty much name it. I was lucky enough to do that as a kid, and that really got me into music. It got me loving music. Then at a young age, around 16, my mother had remarried. It didn't work out so well, so I lived on my own. I rented houses in the U.S. That's called house parties. I threw underage house parties, charged people to get in for, at the time, was kegs of beer, a cup of beer, to pay my rent. And I had DJs perform at that time. And at the time, house music, which later became EDM, was popular. So it was underground. So I would pack out my houses and some crazy parties, pack out my houses, get a little trouble. And that's what really then got me into, let me do this in a legit way and get into the club business.
It's an interesting start, wasn't it? I mean, so we're talking 90s here, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the same in the UK. EDM and club house stuff was very, very were big, as was the drug scene. I mean, what was the drug scene like over there in the States?
Well, there was originally, when I got into the club business, like Tunnel, Limelight, and then through the years, I had a career over 15 years. The drug scene was, you had drugs out there, but you had ecstasy, cocaine, but these were drugs, the clubs weren't allowed in open, but these were things nobody was dying from because they weren't laced with the fentanyl, the terrible stuff that's in there today. Yeah. So there was drugs, but there was really no deaths at the time, which was fortunate enough.
And in terms of managing the, should we say, the etiquette of the guests and any sort of potential fracas and violence, how did you deal with that?
Yeah, so I ran a lot of events, sometimes 5 parties a night, sometimes 10,000 people at each event a night.
Wow.
It's huge in having your security in place, a lot of preparation. Never undercut the security that I see a lot of larger companies look like they do today, and make sure it's set up over security, having more security than you need, and then having the right people properly trained. They know how to handle the situation. So for 15 years, I did a lot of events, events through New York, New Jersey, Miami, the whole East Coast. And there'd always be some problems, but we got through mostly everything without any major issues just because of the preparation and the money spent on the right security and the right training for the
So,
employees.
and I guess as you were generous with the security, that sort of acted as a bit of a deterrent, did it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a deterrence, 100%. Sometimes paying extra police to be outside just as a deterrent that they're there. You have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then just also training. We put a lot of money into training classes for our security. So they wouldn't just be standing there like, hey, this guy's going to attack me. He's going to chill back, blend in, and then they would move when they needed to move, escalate, de-escalate something quickly, and then let the fans enjoy. And then people just started to realize that a lot of the clubs and a lot of events, like, yeah, it's not worth doing this here. We're having a good time. So
Yeah.
as long as it got broken up, you broke something up quickly, then people really got the vibe like, all right, this doesn't happen here. And there's a lot of good looking people here. Let's have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you have any incidents with protection, the mafia, the mob, and anything like that?
I never paid the mafia for protection. I did have the mafia try to make me pay them many
Did you?
times over the years. I'm from New Jersey, so at the
Yeah.
time we still
That's what
had
I
a lot
thought.
of mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mafia tried to make me pay them a lot of money over many years, but I never paid the mafia. They did threaten to take my life at a few times, but after you stand up to them, you tell them no, you're not going to pay them. They'd actually talk to you with a little bit of class, um, and then some of them started actually coming to my clubs, and my clubs were hot, and then they started bringing their kids and their family members, and they ended up being guests. There were some tough,
Yeah.
rough experiences.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but
So they respected you, but I guess that that's quite a lot of brevity to do that. A lot
yeah,
of people would succumb.
they respected after they put a gun in your mouth and you won't pay them. Then
Really?
they respected me. But
Yeah.
you know what? Then they'll shake your hand and they let me do business.
Yeah.
And I never had to pay them a dollar or never did.
Wow. Yeah. So fast forward to, well, not fast forward to today, but the Live Nation thing. When did that all kick off? How did it start?
Yeah. So I had a 15 years worth of massive success in the industry. And I grew to the top. I couldn't get any bigger in my industry. I just won the number one sound system in the world. And to get bigger, I wanted to get into the festival industry. Now, we talked about house music back in the 90s, it was underground. Well, now we're talking fast forward 2010. House music is I predicted that it's coming mainstream. So the largest state fair here in the East Coast, at the home of the Jets and the Giants, MetLife Stadium. If anybody from UK is not familiar, and if they hate, I'm a Jets fan, but we got the World Cup going on now.
Yeah.
It was a brand new $2 billion stadium. I signed a 10-year exclusive deal to put on all festivals, all events, all concerts throughout the state fair. And that's when Live Nation Entertainment found out about this and wiped it out.
So when you say they found out about it, you did the deal with obviously the stadium, and they were already involved with that particular stadium, were they?
Yeah, so Live Nation did business with the Meadowlands, but the
Yeah.
State Fair Meadowlands is the largest state fair, operates over several weeks of the summer, hundreds of rides, 500,000 attendees a year
Wow.
in the parking lot of the Meadowlands.
Yeah.
I signed a 10-year deal with the State Fair Meadowlands.
Right.
Live Nation wasn't involved with the State Fair Meadowlands at all.
No.
And my start off, as I predicted, EDM house music was going to become mainstream, was going to be the largest EDM festival in the East Coast with hundreds of rides, a unique combination, kind of like what Electric Daisy Carnival became years later when Live Nation acquired them, but a little more unique with all the rides and all the different activities. And that was the start off. And that's why Live Nation got involved, because Live Nation didn't in the US. I don't know about in the UK, but at this time, Live Nation wasn't involved in house music.
No.
They didn't even barely know what it was.
Mm.
They were sleeping behind the eight ball. their CEO, Michael Rapino, at the time, put newspaper articles out saying uh, his biggest fear was EDM was going to be the next rock and roll. And they were behind the eight ball. They needed to acquire the EDM promoters. Acquire or hire was his words. And his fear were lesser known organizations were going to lock up festival spaces before Live Nation did. I was the one that locked up that festival space. I was putting on the largest EDM festival in the East Coast. I would have been a direct competitor to Live Nation. And that's why Live Nation came in and said, we're wiping your festival out, or you join us, let us acquire you, and we pay for the whole thing, kick your business partners out, and we'll run this festival together. I had the business deal. They had nothing to do with it. They were sleeping. I was ahead. Me and my team were ahead of the game. And then I refused that shotgun marriage. They pressed the button and they wiped it out.
When I read about that, I was absolutely astounded that, both in the UK and the US, we've got anti-monopoly laws. I was astounded that they were able just to do that. What methods did they use what did they actually say to you?
Yeah, it was just pretty much like mafia methods, but just a little bit, mafia has a little bit more class.
Yeah.
They came in and they first went to the owner of the State Fair, Meadowlands, Al Dorfman. He's a really good guy. They went in and told him, kick me out or no tickets for the State Fair, no festival. They told him they're blocking my DJs at the time back then, Tiesto, the number one DJ in the world. They're going to block his dates worldwide, block all the artists from performing at the show if they either didn't kick me out or if I didn't accept to partner with them. Then they went, you talked about the Meadowlands. The Meadowlands is the landlord of the State Fair. They went into the Meadowlands, said me and my business partners are robbers, thieves, and that the stadium's theirs to kick us out. I had to take a meeting with Live Nation because Al Dorso, the owner of the State Fair, was like, look, they're blocking your whole entire festival. I take a meeting with them. I took a meeting with them, their top executives, president of Live Nation New York, Jason Miller, their largest market in the United States. In the meeting, when I tried to sit, I walked in and said, hi, my name is Tom. Shut up. This is our festival. This is our stadium. You're nobody. At that point there, they said they were blocking all my talent. They'd called all the talent agencies. They weren't allowing me to get any talent. William Morris, which is the largest talent agency in the world at the time for my music scene, said it's the exclusive agency. And they were not allowing any talent to come through any of the agencies whatsoever. They were going to get me kicked out through the Meadowlands. And then they threatened to block my tickets from Ticketmaster if I did not kick my business partners out and partner with them. At that time, that confused me because I didn't realize that they had partnered with Live Nation and Ticketmaster in the few months before. Live Nation had bought Ticketmaster.
Yes.
So I was kind of like, yeah, I've gotten tickets from Ticketmaster before. How can you block my tickets? When I did a simple Google search, after I got out, I was like, all right, we're in a lot of trouble. But they said any event with electronic dance of 10,000 people, they had to be involved. And that's, and I'm talking nicely. They came in like savage animals and pit bulls in this conversation.
Pretty hostile.
Yeah.
So what was the aftermath of that? You obviously stuck to your guns. You had principles that you didn't want to. You could have sold out, I guess, if you wanted to, as some people probably have.
Yeah, I could have. What they said was that they wanted 50% of the festival, so I would have had to kick out my two business partners that had a percentage. I only had a handshake deal with them, Bob, so I could have just kicked them out.
Yeah.
But I honor my word. I learned that growing up from my dad. I never break my word. So I wasn't letting these people that came in and just threaten to attack me. The mafia had done it for me, as you brought it back to that many years in New Jersey. I never bowed to them, and I'm not going to bow to these basically gangsters in suits, the same thing. And I wouldn't kick my partners out. And they said, if you don't kick your partners out, your event is wiped out. We had millions of dollars out to offers to all the artists. Artists were confirming. We were getting flights. Everything was in place for the festival. After they said that what they were doing, the talent agency wouldn't even answer to our phone call. Then right after that, immediate.
So did the festival go ahead with them managing it, or did it all get cancelled?
The festival got canceled because we were unable to secure talent, which was part of the Live Nation said in the meeting to me. There's loopholes in your contract. We've seen your contract. You know what the loopholes were? We had to have talent for our festival. So I have a ton of evidence on that side. I have tape recordings of the top executives confessing to this, and even way worse than what I'm saying. Emails showing a multi-pronged attack to the talent agencies, the state fair, the Meadowlands. Um, and then they wiped it out right there. You know, I kept fighting, trying to put it on. I tried everything possible, but they got that much power. There's nothing I could do.
So that was 15 years ago. Obviously, you had to back off with what they were doing. What I mean, I know you've had a lawsuit against them and everything, but what have you been doing in the meantime in terms of being in the music industry?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I got wiped out of the whole music industry. I was nominated at the time for the number one promoter in New Jersey, and it's in New Jersey at the time when newspapers mattered. It was the New Jersey Star Ledger, and there was only 4 people nominated by the fans, and Live Nation got my name removed from the number one promoter after me wiping out my festival. They badmouthed me through the whole entire industry, and I got blacklisted. So I lost. I went from the top of the industry. I ended up going homeless after this, and I got wiped out of the whole entire music industry.
And what sort of feedback did you get from some of your former people that you promoted?
So some of the feedback I got was, look, Live Nation is heavily into getting into electronic dance right now. They're saying, you're thieves, you're robbers, and that you guys ruined this whole thing at the Meadowlands for them. And Tommy, how's your name? What's wrong with you? Why is your name removed as the number one promoter from the largest publication? What did you do? And most of the time it was, hey, sorry, we want to work with you. Agents, Tommy on the side, like, we love you. We've done business for 15 years, but Live Nation's too powerful. We can't do it. I'm sorry, man. You know, I'm really sorry. You're my friend. You helped make my career. Some of these agents, I helped build them from nothing. They slept on my couches at the time, and I helped build some of them into pretty powerful people. And they just said, look, sorry. And you know what? I respected that, though, because I didn't want them to be in a position that I was in. It did hurt. Don't get me wrong. But.
Oh, yeah. It must have been quite something to have to undertake for yourself on that one. So what were your next steps? When you sort of picked yourself up and thought, well, hang on a minute, you know, I've been treated really badly. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I was definitely really depressed. I'll tell you that much. I went from I built myself from nothing as a kid to the top, and to have it just wiped away from this big company, I was super depressed. Ended up going homeless. I lost everything, and then I was like, I got to get a job. And I was trying to get a job, and I was having a hard time. Because I was going in, my resume is Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, all these things. And they're like, people in the interviews like, what are you doing here? So I got a job going door to door, selling cable. And something I thought I would never do. And I had to get good at it pretty quick just to survive. And then I got really good at it. And I was able to actually fund the lawyers in the litigation to actually file a lawsuit against Live Nation. And that's what I've been doing. I grew up business doing so for the last 16 years now.
Cool. That must be tough.
Yeah, it's challenging, you know, because I have one attorney. His name is Andrew Smith in the U.S. He's awesome. I'd say one of the best attorneys, but he battles like a $36 billion company, 2,000 attorneys, 2,000 paralegals of Live Nation. So I had to do so much legal work over the years. I'd work all day, then all night, be doing legal research, and then just research on Live Nation in general and Ticketmaster in general. So it's been a difficult time, and I put a lot of time in. Spent a lot of my time on my life. I only planned on this going on for like a year. I thought they were just going to apologize after they heard those tape recordings of their top executives confessing to doing this to me. Give me my festival back, give me some money to get my feet, and say, hey, I'm sorry. So it's been a long fight.
And have you met any other people on your travels that have had a similar experience with Live Nation as you have?
Yeah, I've met a lot. Um, I won't say their names on here because most of them don't want their names being said. They're either one, they're luckily survived in the industry, or they took getting acquired and they got bought by Live Nation. And they didn't want to get bought; they felt they were forced to, or they'd be wiped out. And then other ones that already have been wiped out and been destroyed.
Mm.
One of my business partners, he kept doing event. He actually was in the house music with me, and he was one of the few people they actually used, Live Nation used to put on electronic events because they didn't know how to do it. And he was going, I'm packing out a place, 5,000, 10,000 people with them, and I'm losing money. The one kid, literally, I'm not going to say his name, but he had to mortgage his mother's house to pay for a packed out New Year's show that in the back end, Live Nation, from the information I've seen, executives are high fiving each other on how profitable the EDM event was and how amazing my business partner was in producing it. So the people just said they have a really hard time on making money with
Yeah.
working with Live Nation. That's what I hear all the time. Why we sell out? We don't work with them. We sell out events. We make tons of money. We work with them. We sell out these events. There's all these. We don't know where the money goes, and that's what I've heard as a general theme. And I've talked to people across the world, promoters from many different countries, from Australia. I mean, I'm not going to say the names, but even in the UK, Germany, many places, they reach out to me and they express many of the same stories. Like, look, I'm just one victim of this monopoly, this criminal enterprise, I call it, and this Live Nation Ticketmaster merger. But this is going on everywhere.
Yeah.
In the U.S., they've taken it over, and it's sad that it's spreading. And when you were talking about the U.K., when I saw your government put out those information of the climate of fear. To me, this is nothing new, but this is something I've been trying to warn Europe because I'm saying this is coming to you next. This
Yeah.
company is not stopping, and this is not a company. This company runs just like a mafia. It doesn't run like a business, and it's sad to see that now that's happening in the UK. I'm not surprised whatsoever. I've been trying to ring that alarm bell, the fire alarm. But it's at least good to see your government's trying to jump into it maybe before the whole scenes take over, like it is in the United States. We don't have an independent scene anymore.
No, I did some numbers and looking at the percentages, the ticket sales directly from Live Nation are 58% of all concert tickets in the UK, but going up to 66% when you look at their affiliate companies.
Yeah, and those numbers are high, but it's
Yeah.
actually a lot worse because if you're an artist and you're doing a global tour, that's nice that there's 50% of the tickets there from Ticketmaster. But if you want to go into the United States or any major hub, Live Nation's in 70 countries. 70 countries. And they're buying right now, they just got found guilty in the United States by the state attorney generals, our DOJ, Kate, but the state attorney generals, bipartisan here, picked it up and found them guilty on every count of being a monopoly. They're still buying companies for hundreds of millions of dollars every single day. So if you're an artist, it may not just be that 50% in the UK. Can I even get a date through all the touring routes in the United States if I don't go into that venue that Live Nation is selling the Ticketmaster tickets at so they can double dip and profit?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in England, you've got a price of a ticket for, say, in sterling, pounds, roughly the same as dollars, 250 quid to go and see a top artist, or more. But then you've got very, very small music venues like pubs struggling to exist, hardly being able to pay the band, and the band going away with $250 between 5 or 6 people. You know, it seems like it's extremes. Is it the same in the US?
Yeah, I think it's worse than the US, and it's starting to catch up over by you guys and some of the rest, and
Yeah.
spreading to the rest of the world. Um, our concert tickets are through the roof. They use they use dynamic ticketing out here.
Yeah, we use it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the complaints with the Oasis stuff. I think I was on a
Yeah.
documentary on that.
Yeah.
But that dynamic ticketing, fans go in that queue. It's a $50 ticket. They come out. It's $800 in the United States, at least. I know it's a lot cheaper in the other parts of the world. People travel from the U.S. to go to other countries because stuff they get away with in the Live Nation. I mean, in the U.S., they can't do like some of the practices that I say are criminal. I don't think they can get away with in Europe.
No.
What they get away, they call the United States the Wild Wild West for a reason with this, and I believe so.
Mm.
But it's worse in the United States.
So you must be pretty. How satisfied are you with what's happened in the States with the recent lawsuit?
I was really happy. I was very upset when the DOJ caved and gave them like a $280 million parking ticket. It sounds like a lot to people, but that's 4 days worth of revenue for Live Nation.
Yeah.
But I was really happy. I pushed my state AG in New Jersey to continue. Jennifer Davenport, she did. And the state AG is bipartisan. And in the U.S., there's nothing bipartisan. You could think about 30 states of state AGs continued the case. And they got Live Nation found of being guilty of monopoly on all counts. I was really happy about that. Very happy.
And how does that affect your own lawsuit?
I don't believe it affects it. I think it's good, like case precedent. But I can't even get a trial date in my court. But I've been waiting 16 years, so I don't know. But I think it helps the fans in so many ways. But it all depends on the remedies section that they're going on right now. Judge out of New York, the state AGs are pushing for Live Nation to be split up into multiple pieces and companies, which I've been pushing and calling for. I was saying a breakup of Live Nation Ticketmaster doesn't go far enough. You need to split it into multiple different companies, multiple different entities, or shut it down. So depending on what happens in the remedy phase, we'll see how much it does for independent promoters because they've been pretty much wiped out. Artists, they have like the climate of fear you guys were talking about there. That's the thing here when artists can't say a word. It's shh, or there's no show for you. And then for the fans that are paying these, like you said, these crazy prices. And that's why a lot of these bars and clubs, if you ask me, or why they are having such a hard time, look at the cost of tickets increase. It's nothing like inflation. Now, if you went back in my time and someone's paying $1,000 to go to a concert, you bring a couple, your girlfriend, your kids, whatever, maybe with you spend $4,000. Who has the money in these days and age to say, cool, let me go out to the pub the next night. Let me go to the club the next night. So they basically, and Live Nation's extracting money in any way it possibly can. If it's from the lawn chairs here in the United States, it was in the trial. You used to be able to bring your lawn chairs, just make one example, to an amphitheater. Now you have to rent Live Nation's lawn chairs for $15. And you know what Michael Rapino, the CEO, said on the trial? He said, lawn chairs are a security risk unless you use our lawn chairs. So they extracting money every possible way. They control every aspect of the industry, and fans are just really paying the price. And then it really pays the price on the independent scene, the local music clubs, the local pubs. And he said you got the price increases there. I saw stuff out there from the UK, from your government trying to push that levy $1, or in your
Yes.
currency to go to those independent venues in those organizations. And I see it look like Live Nation hasn't been voluntary compliant, which I'm not surprised. But they should be at least, how much damage they've done, they should at least be paying and helping these independent venues, helping these helping these independent promoters, because that's where all the artists come from. That's where all the creativity comes from. And pretty soon, when you buy everyone and you control it all, I'm pretty fearful for the industry just as a whole, what it'll actually become.
So with the lawsuit happening and what's happening in the UK as well, are you fairly hopeful that things will improve?
I'm optimistic, cautiously. Live Nation has a lot of money and got the best lawyers in the world, and they spend a lot of money on lobbyists. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Same with the UK. I don't know the lobbyist situation, but I know they spend a lot everywhere. So I'm hoping. I hope. Yeah. But I really feel that fans have to kind of really take this more into their own hands right now to ensure the outcome is right for the industry, if they care about music, if they care about the independent scene, and they care about the culture, and they care about not paying these crazy money for tickets every day. Yeah. I'm calling in the U.S. for people to be reaching out to their congressmen, their state AGs, local politicians and saying, keep Live Nation out. And if you're not going to investigate this company more, if you care about it, vote these people out of office, because lobbyists pay money, but you vote. And that's at least what we have in the United States that I'm pushing for.
Mm. Juice Entertainment, you're CEO of Juice Entertainment. Tell us a bit about the company.
Yeah, so Juice Entertainment, as I told you, starting off, it was called Primetime. I evolved into it. Tommy D Primetime. I grew the company from when I was 16, 17 years old. I started off throwing events at legendary clubs. I did guest lists, like I used to do 200 people at house party events at my houses, and then I'd bring them to New York City clubs. And somebody was like, "Hey, I'll pay you $1 a head for these 200 people you buy here." I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." So I got into the business. I was like, $200, cool. I was already hanging out here partying. I then just went on and did my own events. And I did a first event was on a Wednesday night, because nobody partied on a Wednesday night in the 90s. I got it from a mob boss. The club gave me, the mob boss owner gave me a Wednesday. I packed it out with 1,500 people, my first event. We grew, running overtime with me and my team, not me, but first it was one person. Then I got a big team, had over 70 employees. We grew, running almost every major house EDM party throughout New Jersey, New York, the Jersey Shore, down to Miami. I used to do every major celebrity. We broke many of them, from Kardashians, Snoop Dogg, Charlie Sheen.
So you would arrange for example, you would arrange a house party for the Kardashians, would you?
Yeah, well, that was out of my houses. That was in the nightclubs then. After I grew,
but you arranged the actual event, did you?
Yeah, absolutely. I arranged all the events. I booked the talent. With the Kardashians, I used to work directly with in the beginning with Kim's mom, Chrissy. I think we did Kim for a couple $1,000s her first event. I did her first. The son, Rob Kardashian, did his first event down at Club Karma in the Jersey Shore, and my other nightclub up in North New Jersey, Bliss. Paris Hilton did all the hip hop artists in the EDM clubs, from Fabulous, Chris Brown, LMFAO. We had a pretty successful career. We were running events, 10,000 people a night, sometimes five nights a week, and 5 of them.
Do you miss it?
Yeah, I miss it. I love it. Music.
And do you want to get back into doing it at some point?
You know, would I love to do it? Absolutely. It's in my blood, and I worked so hard for it. And it's something, as a kid, I went through a lot of struggles. I almost was even killed from an assault, and music was my passion, and it made me survive. And
you're almost killed from an assault?
Yeah. When I was throwing those underage house parties, I went to somebody else's a party at their actual house, and I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Somebody was trying to hit somebody else. They ran up from 50 feet from behind and smashed me with a gallon of vodka in the back of my head, fractured my skull, internal bleeding. I didn't talk about this to recent times because my assistant Gianna was like, "You should let people know your story." Through the whole club years, no one even knew this ever happened to me. I had this scar on my head. I tell people it was a design. I used to design it different ways. I'd even make hearts on Valentine's Day and stuff, because I didn't want anybody to use it against me.
No.
I had gone at the time 90% blind.
Really?
And doctors told me even at the surgery time, I only had a 1% chance of survival. I picked it up, and I was in a rehab, and they said, "You won't make it. You won't be able to do anything in your life." I walked out of the rehab. I never finished. That's when I got that first Wednesday night party. And I worked 6 months, packed that Wednesday night party out. And luckily, different parts of your brain, I got all my vision back, got everything back there. So people say I fight this David versus Goliath fight versus Live Nation. I think I've fought some bigger fights than that. Yeah. This one's just been longer, but yeah.
Do you ever do any sort of small scale type parties at all now?
No, I haven't done any parties. I've been focusing really on the industry for the future. I have kids now. Before this lawsuit, I didn't even have kids. I know so much
different priorities.
Yeah, but I have a 12-year-old. He wants to put on concerts. He looks at the walls. He's like, "Look, you're on all these covers of all these magazines. You're with Tommy Lee. You're with Snoop Dogg. I want I want to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I got you. But, when I was a kid, like, my mom, at least the family said, go to college. I said, no, I'm not going to college. I'm going to create a club empire. I worked really hard, 7 days a week, 365, 20 hours a day to do it. It ain't easy. I'll tell anybody out there before. But I'm telling him, you got to go to college, because with Live Nation and Ticketmaster, Ticketmaster, what they took over here, you will not make it. And if you do, you're going to be owned by them. So I'm pushing this for the independent scene, for kids, not just mine, other kids that want to be artists, that want to grow and not have to, if they're an artist, not have to work for Live Nation and be broke. Most of the artists are broke even working for Live Nation. Independent promoters to be able to thrive and run events and do what I did. And then really fans, because look, who made me? It was the fans. I had a huge fan base and they were loyal. And through a whole coast, through Miami. And these fans are being taken advantage of across this whole entire world by this company. I wouldn't even call this company, this criminal enterprise. And I'm pushing for that change, for a greater good than myself, for the whole industry and for people's kids, and for kids that have dreams like I did. Because look, I probably wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for music.
Well, it's been really interesting talking to you, Tommy. It is a real David and Goliath story, and I really hope that it will come to a satisfactory conclusion for you. So thank you ever so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope the UK, your government, keeps up the push for the independence.